we're back.
All right. There you go.
Yay.
There. Okay. So better internet connection here. Okay.
Long
Cool.
time no see.
Long time no see. Okay.
Where were we?
I don't know. Your next question.
Okay, let me just go through it. So, yun, we just discussed the niches and all. Now let's talk about how you feel you influence society as a TikTok content creator. So you mentioned this a lot earlier. Like, you feel you want to help out, have an advocacy, give back to people. So the first question is, since the Philippines is currently the biggest user of TikTok, why do you think Filipinos prefer it as their social media platform?
Mm. Well, I can just give like my own guesses. So because one of the things that I've heard from other social media influencers is that in the next few years, 90% of social media will be in video form. And I just think that TikTok is purely video compared to like Twitter and Facebook. But I think that it has incorporated the strengths of different social media platforms to their own platform. So what is an example of that? So for example, in Twitter, you'll get a lot of hype and attention when your hashtags or just like your topics are relevant to the current climate. So whether you're on politics Twitter or you're in K-pop Twitter, it really is up to what the climate is and you talking about that and other people resonating with you in terms of that topic. Similar to Twitter, TikTok is kind of like that, where the new trends or what the climate looks like and what person provides the most value in that particular like era or climate would have a benefit of more organic reach. So that's one thing that those are two things that TikTok is doing. So I feel, and my guess is that they understand that social media is going to be 90% video, and they're taking strengths from different types of social media platforms. So there.
I never thought about it like that. Like we are moving towards a more video platform. Malay mo, in the next few years it's like hologram. We
Yeah.
just get closer. It was pictures, now we're moving. Now you don't know. Okay.
Right.
So yeah, TikTok's pretty big now. So do you think that there's anything unique about TikTok culture here in the country? Like something we do only?
Mm. In this country. In this country, huh? I wouldn't know. Well, first I can talk about TikTok in general, and then let's go to the Philippines. I think TikTok in general has captured the young audience, 13-year-olds. And one of my claims or hypothesis, wait lang, that's a grammar for it. Hypotheses. Sorry. Kaya hindi ako masaupkat eh. Okay, is that like whoever controls or whoever gets the market share of the younger generation, they are the ones that will get to dictate pop culture. So that's one thing that I see. So for example, Justin Bieber has dominated like way back the 13-year-olds, and then it became like One Direction. Um, so they get to dominate pop culture. They get to influence pop culture because I really think it's about the teenagers who get to share that and appreciate that. That will make sure that more people will get to hear it. So that's my opinion. But in terms of the Philippines, it's a tricky question because in TikTok the algorithm fits you, right? And So that means that if I wouldn't consider myself as mainstream, that means that TikTok wouldn't push as much like mainstream content towards me. Yeah. So I can't give an expert opinion of what is like the mainstream trends of the Philippines because like I'm not as exposed to that compared to the people who I follow who have like 500 to 700 followers, but like I really get their humor and I really relate with them in a personal level because I don't know, like they get to experience what I get to experience. Like similar. So for me, like I'm more um, closer to the people who can afford like private school, but then they still commute every day. That's me. Like I commute every day. Like I have no car, um, and that's the community that I belong to, and that's the content that I get more exposed to. But what we can do in this conversation is tell me what trends you see, and then I can give you like my take on it.
Well, we actually had another interview earlier, and then this TikToker, she was saying that something that we do in the Philippines are like skits, little skits, because this girl is really into like POV
I think you
videos,
know
like
her.
yeah, I actually
Si
do.
Rain Machenza.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't personally know her, but like she has been crushing
Her
it.
content.
I think she had like 70 or 80,000 followers, and then like she just started like a month ago.
So yeah, that's what she said. I think I see it. I do the skits thing.
And what's her opinion about it? Like, so like, what's her insight? Why she felt that she's doing really well? I'm actually super curious.
Oh, Rain. She actually said that she just didn't care. Like she did it without thinking that, oh, I have followers, I have to get likes. Like she just started doing it, and then she wasn't even into those POV things at first. Like she was just like dance and the mainstream TikTok stuff, and then it just picked up from there. So yeah.
Got it. Okay, so one of my insights is that it's because there are parts of culture in the Filipino culture that doesn't get to be talked about as much and isn't as accessible as much. So, for example, the culture of like these Konyo kids are and the language and how they speak is accessible to these kids who are in private school, yeah, or accessible to people who are like from abroad and they get mistaken as Konyo just because they have a hard time speaking in Tagalog. And I think that these are the things where people are aware about it, but there's a lack of access in terms of discourse where more and more people can participate. And I think that because it's accessible, like there's no like wealth barrier to access those types of content, that people can then now engage with it by either like riding it or mocking it or poking fun at it and all of those things. And I think the reason why it's there, it's because it's prevalent, but like we haven't had a platform, a common platform where we have gotten to interact, where like other people who don't belong in that culture also have like an equal voice in that particular discourse. So and so that's but I think your professor might think, well, that's an isolated case. Like that's just one analysis like that a debater can come up with. But I really think like other conversations such as the elephant in the room when it comes to like Tita Marites being super Catholic and super Christian, like everybody has their own interpretation of it, but we also have shared experiences with the Tita Marites in our life. Like parang, ay, grabe si Joshua. Ang laki-laki na ni Joshua. Ay, tumaba ka ata, Joshua. So, and all that stuff. Or like, the elephant in the room, trigger warning, sexual harassment and abuse. Like, our Tito Junes in the, or our like our tito boys in the
The homophobic titos.
yeah, like parang tigasan mo yung arms mo kasi lalaki ka or whatever, or like parang pakita nga ng pututoy, malaki na ba yan? Malaki na ba yan? It's like parang that's a red flag, but it's like common to a lot of like boys who got to experience like a kuya or a tito, um, like treating them that way, and we see it as normal. But now we get to talk about it in common platforms. So I think it has to do a lot with shared experiences. That's why a lot of TikToks, when we see like talking about their moms being super strict, being super like angry and relentless, uh, it's we have our own interpretations, but at the same time we can engage and interact with it inside a common platform because at least we have a shared experiences, which a shared experience, which leads me to the idea of Filipino TikTok, like TikTokers from abroad, like in Canada or in the US, who have a Filipino audience inside the Philippines, because like one of the things that we get to experience is like when our balikbayans come over, and then we talk for a while and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, there are people who choose to stay abroad and never come back, and they start their own lives there. But then um, when they share stuff about being Filipino, there's still a common experience. So my experience is that I get transported to a different world, but then this person is a bridge to that world. So like I have no idea what Canada looks like, what the people there looks like how they talk and all that stuff. Like I have no idea, right? My only reference is just I don't know, Netflix, HBO, Star World, but with uh, these types of TikTok content creators who are Filipino, but they were born and raised in Canada or in the US. I think they bridge something that I don't know, I guess we've been curious about now. Like it's just in front of our face, and then they can share their lives with us through different ways. So
It makes a lot of sense you're saying, because I was thinking about how, like, you know how in Instagram we can't do that. We can't talk about our Tita Marites or Tito June because it's like, aesthetic Instagram. Like you don't have to, but then it's kind of there. So like I think I get it. TikTok is just like talk about what you have in common, your shared stories, and yeah, that's great.
yeah,
So I
and
want,
I think it's
yeah.
like easier for us to interact with each other, especially with the duet functions.
Mm.
Yeah, so you can always bring in your flavor compared to like some popular Instagram person. Like the only way you can interact with them is limited to comments. So there, we don't get to collaborate and stuff. So and in
Yeah,
TikTok,
I saw you have a collaboration with attorney Share. Oh my god, I hope she doesn't see this. Because we're
oh,
trying to
attorney
contact her
Cher,
also.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're trying to contact her also. So
Oh,
yeah.
I could help you with that.
Actually, she replied na. I just haven't replied
Okay,
back. So,
perfect. Okay.
attorney, if you see
Okay.
this, I'm so sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
So, okay, now I want to know about you as a content creator. Like, what's your experience coming into the game, like from the fans, from the audience, and your fellow content creators? Was it like an engaging and encouraging community, or was it like competitive? You know how in Instagram it's like, I have to get all the good likes. So, was it something like that, or?
So what's my experience? Okay. I could give like a very okay. I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest with you. Okay. Um, when I started on TikTok, there are people who I looked up to as if they are celebrities because like once I entered the platform and I saw their videos, I'm like, oh, this person's really cool. This person's really interesting. And when I started having followers, like one thing that I don't want to admit in my content, so this is like exclusive here on this particular uh yeah podcast, is that I do want to like surpass them because like that means that like I'm on their level, but but that's just a vanity metric. Like, it doesn't really mean shit. It doesn't mean jack shit. But I just want to share that these vanity metrics do affect me, because these are the content creators that I look up to. And then, like, in my mind, like, my ego says, now I have more followers than you. But at the end of the day, I get reminded of the fact that we are 7 billion people in this world. And which means that every time you enter TikTok, you're going to find the content creator that has like 300,000, 400,000, 500,000 followers. And you don't even know them. So for me, that's a humbling experience, because at the end, even if you get super famous like Brad Pitt, there will be a bunch of people who don't know you. So, like, for example, also like Aldub, right? Like, Aldub is like the most popular show that people don't know of, right? Like, for example, if they're in the US, like, some celebrities like have lesser viewers than Aldub, but like these people don't know like who Aldub. I don't know their names, but yes. So yun lang, like that it's a balance of both. It's a balance of, like, yeah, I wanna gain more clout, I wanna gain more attention. This is a microcosm of being a celebrity, but at the end of the day, being a celebrity doesn't mean jack shit, because if you go to a different country, it's like there's a bunch of other people who don't even know that you exist. So I jump from one perspective to another.
That's good. I mean, we shouldn't let ourselves get in the way of, like, yeah, in our head.
One insight I'd like to share, though, this person from this guy that I heard, his name is Kevin Kelly. And then I think he coined the term 1,000 true followers. And what 1,000 true followers means is that what you only need to be successful in social media, or to like be okay in life where you don't have to work anymore, is to have like at least 1,000 people. Like for example, when you say, I am selling this pen, and because I'm Bolo Pascual, can you please buy this pen for me? And the people who do buy that pen because it's associated to your brand equity, those are your true followers. So at the end of the day, like, I don't give a shit about like these vanity metrics, as long as I get to accomplish my goal of 1,000 true followers. So in the future, I would just say, can you please buy my books here, because I need money. And if they buy it, then that's cool. And then that makes me think that with the other things that I would like to start selling, they'd also buy it, because I have provided a lot of values for them already. So which means that sometimes the number of followers doesn't say anything, because other people may have like 1 million followers, but then when they say, please donate to this organization, and no one does donate to that organization, it doesn't provide like real concrete impact, such as like money flowing from one place to another, compared to someone who may have like only 3,000 followers, but 1,000 of them really dig that person. I'd rather be the latter than the former.
No,
Yes.
don't worry. I'm sure you have them. I'm sure it's like 2,000 at least.
No. My
So
true followers right now, I think, would be at 5.
five,
Uh-huh.
five. Okay.
Yeah.
So to the 32,000 who may watch, please try to guess if you're one of the five. You can make it more. Make it 6.
No, I mean, here's the thing. It's like, I don't want to ask them to be my true followers. I think being a true follower just indicates that like I have, to an extent, changed their life. And for me, if I haven't reached that yet, that's where I see the gap, where I need to do more, reinvent, improve, and all those things. So, and for me, it's just, I like that process. Like, I really worked hard for those 5 people who, when I say, please do this, they do it. So yeah, I mean, it's okay. It's a process. Yeah.
Yeah. 5 can be good. 5 is okay.
Yeah.
Like I like to think I have two friends in the world, and that it's my mom. It's my mom and my dad. It's okay, cause like it's the quality. So that five is good.
And everybody
Ah,
starts with zero, right? Like everybody starts with zero. So wherever you are, it's like you're in the same like journey with the people who have already been successful
yeah.
because they started at zero too.
I actually want to ask about your audience. Like, how is the feedback with them? Is it generally positive, negative?
Okay, sige. Sige, let's talk about politic talk first. Politic talk. So there are people who agree with me and the people who disagree with me. Um, so there are people who disagree with me, and if they're real human beings, I take the time to comment on their content and have a genuine discussion with them. And I've been receiving a lot of comments on TikTok saying that I am DDS, but I don't think that Bolo is a bad person. Um, there are other people who say, like, I support the president. I'm a DS, not a DDS, like one of those comments. And I agree with 80% of the things that Bolo would say. So those are the positive comments from the people who disagree with me, that they understand that I'm a Filipino first, and then I'm a Liberal Party supporter next. So those are the good comments. But for the bad comments from the people who disagree with me, it's scary because I get red tagged a lot. Um, and, I mean, I don't mind because like people can think whatever they want to think. But at the end of the day, like I'm not even close to that idea. So like even if I'm liberal left, like I'm really capitalist. Like I really think so. I'm sorry, UP Manila. I know like many people are super left leaning, but like I'm super capitalist. I really think that like progress is based out of creativity and how we monetize things, and people are going to be more self-expressed with capitalism than not. But that's just for me. And I just find it annoying because I feel like you think you know me when in fact you just disagree with me. And what hurts is that I care about the same things that you care about. It's just that we are exposed to different things. And but at the same time, I also welcome these negative comments because I get to broaden my perspective. So one of the things that I've learned so far out of receiving negative comments is that even if I know I can win an argument and I can win a debate against these types of people, it doesn't mean that I should, because I don't want to undermine and invalidate the experiences of other people. So, for example, let's talk about Duterte's drug war. I really hate it. I don't give a shit like if I don't know, this is a taboo topic because of the political climate or whatever. Um, but and I could always argue that like in Scandinavian countries, in Portugal, they have done really well with their drug policies, that is like not criminalizing users and having a rehabilitative approach, right? I could win that debate. Like I have a lot of facts. I have a lot of like counter arguments and all that stuff. But if there's an individual who would say that their child or their mom got like assaulted by a drug addict, I would rather prioritize empathy and compassion because that's their personal experience and I don't want to invalidate and undermine that. Even if we are in a debate round, I'd crush them, or even if like I have the best responses ever, I wouldn't do that because I think kindness and empathy should come first. And that's the best foundation for discourse. So that's the area of people who disagree with me. So there are people who disagree with me, but they think they see the human being and the Filipino in me first, and then the political party after. And then the other ones, they disagree with me. It's like I just feel like they don't know me or they're trolls, or it's just that they experience something that is visceral to them, and I just don't want to undermine that, and I just want to, let them know that I care about them first before talking about what's right or what's wrong. Because I also acknowledge the fact that just because I think I'm right doesn't mean I'm right. so there. So for the people who agree with me, one of the things that I talk about, especially in my early stages when I, like been gaining attention, is I tell them that just because I disagree with you doesn't mean that I like your content. Because sometimes the people who agree with me, because I'm very dilawan, so like whatever, like if you shit on the DDS, like some part of my brain would say, yes, at least there are people who make sense, or at least there are people who share the same feelings. But at the end of the day, the way I talk to them through comments or through chat is that I tell them, does that really help us move forward? Do calling them pangit or tanga or bobo or these types of things like productive for discussion? And what I'm saying is it's not. So sometimes I love, like now I get to realize that, yeah, there are more people who are DDS that I appreciate more than the people who agree with me, because they don't add the ingredient of kindness to the discourse. They just have the ingredient of being right and the ingredient of more, in my perspective, more educated and smart people just agreeing with them. But just because smart people and educated people agree with you doesn't mean that it helps us as a collective become better as a people. So there. So when someone says, yun kasi yung mga DDS, ang bobo talaga, whatever, I would call them out, saying that, like you could reply to comments and say that this is not something that I support, because we got to respect human beings first before we can actually elevate the discourse.
Yeah, that's really respectable. I like what you said about putting empathy first, especially for people who may not agree with us. But then yeah, that's really nice. I think it's something this country needs. Not to develop, but then just need it. Yeah.
And I'm not saying that your feelings of being angry are invalid. I think that like my anger because of policies, and that's why I'm really pissed, right? Like especially like during allowing Marcos to be buried in the libingan ng Mabayani, and the president in the current administration is in support of that and all that stuff. That really angers me, but I think that it shouldn't pass 49%. My anger shouldn't exceed 49% of what I say. And like kindness and empathy should be like 51% at the least. And hindi nabababa doon. So your feelings are valid, but you gotta let your empathy and love speak louder than your frustration and hate.
It seems so soft and fluffy. I feel like I'm in a peer group. Like, yes, let your love shine through.
Well, one of the feedback that grammar fart, subject verb agreement. So the feedback that I get from a couple of my friends is that I should be careful because they think that I sound like a cult leader. And
You could
wala lang,
start one. Charot.
no, exactly. That's like that's what we've been saying and stuff, right? Like I'll be the kibolo. That's why I really believe that social media is a game of self-awareness, because just because you have a lot of likes and followers and clout doesn't mean that you're correct. Doesn't mean na magaling ka na, all that stuff. Yeah, so I got that quote from one of the professors that I admire di ko siya professor, but I follow him on social media. Leloy Claudio from LaSalle, graduate of Ateneo. Yeah, like just because you have a lot of likes doesn't mean that you're correct. You still have to evaluate your stance based on like fairer metrics than just like vanity metrics.
Okay. You actually kind of discussed our next question, which was like, do you ever get bashed? Do you ever get like threats from ganun? So yeah, I guess it does get a bit intense since yeah, we're talking politics.
Okay, I have something to tell you about like getting bashed and getting threats and all that stuff. And I think as a I don't know, fluff word, like as a first principle, I don't think we ought to overvalue compliments, because if we get to overvalue compliments and praises and like it affects you in a very like positive manner, the converse is also true, where insults will get to affect you as well. So for me, I think the reason why I have a better mental health standing than other content creators is because I don't overvalue these compliments. And because of the fact that I don't overvalue these compliments, I also don't get impacted as much by these insults. So I treat feedback more of a resource than like something that I need or something that I would get addicted to. And one thing that I would posit is that many of us are so addicted to getting compliments and overvalue these positive feedback that we don't get to realize that these people don't even know you. You know what I mean? Like you, both of you might think like I'm a cool dude and all that stuff, and like I've done this and that. But at the end of the day, I may be the shittiest person ever, right? So how I use comments and feedback, I treat them nothing more, nothing less than of a resource. So if I just receive a comment saying that your content sucks, you should be on, you should wear better clothes, I wouldn't get affected with your content sucks, but I would take on the feedback of maybe I should try on better clothes and see the results from there. Or other people saying like, I really, really, really love your content. Please do more of these things. So I do them not because of the praise that I really like your content, but because of the praise, but because of the idea that that feedback is a resource. And I let me try being consistent with this content that you like in order for me to serve you more. So yeah, that's how I approach these positive and negative comments.
A
I try
really
to be
good
open-minded and
principle.
coachable to my audience. Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone should like skip to this part. If you're not gonna watch this video, at least skip to this part. I know I needed it. So yeah. We're actually nearing the end of our interview. We have one last question from Lala. So go
So, ayun.
girl.
Do you think that in the long run, Philippine TikTok hype is here to stay? Just like, other social media platforms such as, Instagram, the mainstream ones, or Facebook, magtatagal ba yung hype na ganito?
I see. Um, I don't know. I really don't know. But my perspective is that even if you are born 100 years from now, um, you're still in the early stages of social media. And just for the audience who would like to be content creators, it doesn't matter if you're late and whatever, because in our lifetimes, social media is still new. So even if like, so that's pretty much it. And the way I treat it and my approach to content creating now is that we are on a digital marathon where nothing is guaranteed. Um, so it can be like Facebook, or it could be like Vine, right? So Vine was super popular. Everybody knew about Vine, and then it was gone. But my perspective is that if people are willing to expose themselves to TikTok, to new things like Triller, Discord, all those things, these, and even if they don't stay for so long, the lessons that you pick up will be useful for your next opportunity. That's why we see a lot of content creators from Vine who weren't like who like did not benefit from Vine not being viral, or not like did not stay for too long, but because they were exposed in that type of content, that they're now crushing on TikTok, and they found it easier to transition because of the ways that you can learn to create content. And because of Vine, even though it didn't exist for so long, that's where they figured out that even 6 seconds of something that I do could be providing value to other people. And with TikTok's 15 seconds or 1 minute, those are the lessons that people would pick up. So for me, it's not much of a productive discussion if these social media platforms would stick around forever. I think the more productive discussion is what are the aspects of these platforms that are here to stay. So it's not necessarily the platform itself, but the aspects. So for Vine, the aspect of 6 second pieces of content is still something that people capitalize on today in TikTok. So the better question I feel is what would be the aspects that you think would continue in the future? So there. And to answer that question, sorry, I'm so dull. I just want to speak. Is that I think in the future, what's gonna be more, what's gonna stick around is more of growth and self-development that is packaged as snippets of actionable things that you can do now, compared to like education, like in the traditional sense, like you have to get semesters of learning and then getting this piece of paper called the diploma in order for you to do something. I think the future, what the future would look like is Alexa telling you, this is a new skill set that Bolo Pascual has suggested. This is what we call the idea of signposting, where you enumerate the things that you want to say before actually saying it in order to provide like a good public speech in front of your classmates. So I think like those little snippets of behavior change, or those snippets of skill set upgrades is something that will stick around. And I see that people are learning from TikTok in all different platforms, and it's here to stay. And my bold prediction, so I'd love to see this clip in the next 10 years, is that schools will be obsolete, universities would be obsolete, and that's through the accessibility of information and the concrete skills that we can acquire. And pieces of paper that we call diplomas won't mean shit in the future. But that's just me. I hope I'm wrong. So, but at the end of the day, still pursue your degree. But I think like our degrees, my degree, doesn't mean shit in the next 5 to 10 years.
The system has to change. We're not gonna include this as part of our project.
Also
Has
good.
to change.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really taken back to when you mentioned na all social media is gonna get into videos. So I think that's something too. Maybe that's one of the aspects.
Okay. Can I
So
ask the both of you questions too?
yes.
I have two questions
Sure.
for you. Okay. So the first question is, if you were to create content tomorrow, what would be your first piece of content be about?
Wait, I'm checking my Finsta. Like, what do I post on my Finsta?
Actually, yung TikTok ko nga is parang spam account. Sobrang random lang din ng mga ina-upload ko doon.
Yeah. Pretty much same. Parang rant,
Ano ba?
the travel stuff.
I think I'll focus on feminism. Feminist TikTok. No. Yeah.
Awesome.
Like Gwen, if you know her.
Yeah, we're friends.
TikTokers
Cool.
are so tight. I love
Awesome.
it.
Thank you so much for that, Lala. And how about you, Allyssa?
Oh, well, mine was really just rants and travel and food. But then if you want to ask me, like the thing I'm super passionate about is like social constructionism. Like,
What's that?
ooh, oh my gosh! I love talking about this. Social constructionism is basically the thing na parang like everyone says you have to do this, but then in truth, people just created it. Like for me, one thing is like marriage or premarital sex. Like you guys literally just made this. Why are you trying to
Virginity.
yeah, why are you trying to hate on me when I have a choice? So that's the social construct thing. I think that's something I'd love to rant about.
Love it. So I have a second question for the both of you. These things that you're passionate about and the ideas that you want to talk about, who would benefit from that? What type of individual would benefit from your ideas?
I feel like with me, it's gonna be like people. Oh my gosh, sorry, Lala, were you gonna say something?
Una ka na, okay na.
Okay, sorry. For me, it's like people who were in my spot because before I felt super caged. That like I feel like my life's so planned ahead. Like I have to have a baby, I have to get married before I do stuff like that. Especially people in this country, pa, we're so traditional, not just on the whole marriage thing, but religion, stereotypes, like pag nag-drop out ka, wala ka na. So I feel like those stuff, people create all those stuff. People who are deviant, they have to hear this, that like, it's you, just be you. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. How about you, Lala?
So, ako naman, feeling ko ang mas makaka-benefit dito ay yung mga, ano yung susunod sa Generation Alpha? Kasi, ako, yan, they belong to parang 2010 onwards. Oo.
That's what they call the new one.
Yeah. So,
Like the
nagulat
next after
ako.
Gen Z?
Nagulat ako sa TikTok, may mga ganun kabata. So, I think if ma-expose sila sa ganitong platform, I think mas helpful if yung nakita nilang content is healthy, like feminism and such. Kasi, na-observe ko rin na even some women have closeted misogyny. So, ayun, kailangan nating baguhin yun.
Perfect. So thank you for answering those questions as honest as you can. I just want to say and posit that you have the power, starting tomorrow, starting now, to create a positive impact towards those types of people. And even if like there are people who are already talking about feminism, like Gwen, Lala and Allyssa can reach a unique set of people that wouldn't have otherwise been reached by other people who have been creating the content that you want to create. So that's just my main encouragement for the both of you. Like use your platform because these are the people that you described are the unique types of people that haven't been reached yet, but you have the unique power to reach them. And that's pretty much it. And I just feel like if you start creating content, you can look back at this moment.
Yeah.
And you'd be like number 6 and number 7 in my list of people who started creating content because of me. I'm just kidding. Yun lang. Just wanted to share that. I just want to say that like you have a unique power to make a difference and an impact. And I invite you to use your voice and don't give a shit about what other people would think of you. I would rather have you think of the people that you could uniquely impact because of the way you'd use your ideas and your voice. So there. And just want to let you know if you start creating content based on the things that you're passionate about, I'll be your first fan. All right. So there, I'll do it your videos, all those things. Because I just feel the both of you are coming from the right place of caring for others and wanting to elevate the discourse. So there.
Okay, so before we go, we actually prepared a little something for you. Uy,
Oh,
nag-content creation kami. Ay,
wow.
Lala, pa-share naman ng ano, allow share screen, please. Girl, you're muted.
Oh my God, wait lang. Sinend mo ba sa akin yun, girl? Sorry, wait
No,
lang.
not the final
Of course.
one. I'm
Ha?
sorry, you might think we made a TikTok. I didn't send you the final one, girl.
Oh no, paano?
Ano to? For share
Make co-host.
screen.
Make co-host.
Yeah. So you see my picture. You see
Yeah.
the 3 little dots at the upper right.
Oh my God, boomer. Charot.
So
Ayan,
click the
ayan.
3 little dots.
Okay, okay na.
Yearn! Okay. Bolo, I think you think that we made a TikTok. So this is what we made. We just wanted
Oh,
to
thank you
say
so
thank
much.
you for sharing your knowledge
Wait, let
with
me
us.
let me screenshot this.
We're gonna send it to you later. Don't worry.
All right, okay.
So yeah,
Got
let's
it.
take a
Thank you so
picture.
much.
Let's take a picture of this.
Yeah.
Okay. So ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay. Wait lang. One more. One more na tayo lang. Let me stop sharing screen. Okay. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Yay! Thank you so much
All right.
again. It was so nice
Thank you so
meeting
much.
you.
Wait lang, you agreed to send this to me, okay? And like I'll
Yes!
post these 2 parts on.
Everyone
Of
should know
course.
that.
All right, sige.
Sikat.
This is episode
Yes.
23 of the Bolo Pascual show. All right, sige. Thank you so much, Allyssa and Lala.
Thank
Thank
you.
you also. Good
All right,
night.
the pleasure's mine. Good night.